And welcome to the Weavy workspace. So I'm just going to run you through how the workspace works, things to kind of keep an eye out on, and things that might be quite helpful as you navigate the workspace. Once you log in, this is what you'll be presented with is your initial workspace. Maybe if you are new, you won't get all the My Files, but as you work on different projects and you save them, then you have all your My Files building up as you go along. Right at the top, you have the workflow library. So these are just examples of what Weavy gives you to explain different aspects. For example, Weavy iterators, if you want to click on that project, it will show you how to connect iterators. A few of these are documented, so you have sticky notes in them telling you explaining what each workflow does. You click on tutorials. This is just a general breakdown on different nodes and how to set things up in Weavy Workspace. On the left-hand side, you have your profile, create a new file, and you also have this My Files. Clicking on the plus, you can actually get to create a new file or a new folder. We'll get back to this a little bit later. We also have Share With Me, where you can access different projects that have been shared in a collaborative environment, or your apps. Once you've finished a project and you want to automate it, you can create apps and they will all live under this tab once they've been published. Okay, so let's create a new file. Once you click Create New File, you'll be presented with this Weavy canvas. This Weavy canvas is pretty minimalistic, so to give you as much space as possible to work in. This is the entire canvas. If you click on the W here and go to Preferences, at the moment I use Scroll Wheel to zoom, and I can zoom in by just scrolling my wheel. I'll show you that when I put some nodes on. Top right, we have the credit amount and also your tasks. You can cancel tasks as they run. You can also share each project by clicking on Share here, and you can actually, just like the Google Drive setup, you can just click anyone with a link can view, copy this link, and once you paste it somewhere like in the Discord channel or somewhere else, people will be able to click on it and view your workflow. If you want specific people to view it only, again, you just click on Only Invited People Can View, and you type in their email so that they can be invited, or at least they can have access to the project. On the left-hand side, you have the search bar. Search bar is quite useful. You can actually look through the different nodes available in Weavy. A really good thing about the search bar, it has this little section here. So from input to output. For example, if you want to get a node that has an audio input, you can just go to here, click on audio. And if you want the output to be a video, just click on video, and you will see all the nodes that have an audio input and a video output. For example, Kling AI avatar. You click it and you drag it into this workspace. Again, this is my zoom, using my wheel of my mouse to zoom in. And you can see it has an audio input and a video output. So these are quite useful. If we want to find a node that has an audio input, but also a video input and a video output, we can just select it here, and you will see the nodes that have for example, the Sync 2 Pro has an audio and video input and a video output. So quite useful in terms of a search. You can just go back here and click on the X next to the names to remove those. Good thing about this search as well, if you want to search for anything in particular, for example, video, it will bring up anything that has video in the name, and you can scroll down and select something, or you can just keep on typing and let's say smoother. And video smoother will come up. Once it comes up, you just grab it, click and drag into your workspace. If you hover over the icon, you will see a bit more information about it. For example, this interpolates video frames to tell you the inputs and outputs, and it will also tell you how many credits it costs to run that particular model. Next, we have your recent quick access shortcut here, and this just shows you all the things that you normally use regularly. You have your toolbox, which contains like levels, compositor, things that you can actually use to combine the different outputs. For example, you want to blur an image, you can use this. You want to resize, you can use this, and you can see once you hover over some of these, for example, blur, it's free to use. Just drag it in and you see there's no credit to run this. You just have to give it an input and it will automatically do its thing. You have your image modeled here as well. So anything that generates an image, that could be text to image or image to image. You have your video models here. So that is text to video, image to video, or video to video. They all live here. And you have 3D models. So anything that generates a 3D model, it's all here. So all these shortcuts are quite helpful. And you can also import your own models into Weavy if you want. Or you can use some of them that have already been imported by the community. Or if you add or import an image and save it to your library, it will live under My Models. Right at the bottom here, you have assets. And assets, I'll show you that a little bit later. The question mark is quite good because here you can send messages to the team for troubleshooting or any issues you have. You can also search their YouTube channel or have a link to the YouTube channel for Weavy. And search help is actually quite useful because you can search for frequently asked questions. You can also have access to the node and model documentations. This is actually quite useful. I discovered this not too long ago, but if you just click on this and, for example, you go to editing tools, it will give you a breakdown of each node, and some of them will actually have a workflow example showing you each node or a particular node in action in a workflow. So it is quite useful. So for example, extract video frame. If you click on this workflow example, it will open up a brand new project. I'll just close this and it will run through a few workflow setups and you will see extract video frame has been used, and you can kind of analyze this workflow and see how it's been used. So that is under the question mark under help. And you can see nodes and model documentations. Frequently asked questions is there as well, and a few other helpful links. At the bottom is the link to join the Discord community. There you can ask questions and you can kind of share your projects so that other people can learn from it, or you just want to show what you've been working on recently. Once you've created your project, you want to actually give it a name so you know what it's called. You just click on this title on the top left, and we'll just call this one Test Project 1. Okay, I will delete this just select everything, click on the left mouse, drag, select all the nodes, and just hit delete to delete the nodes. Let's generate an image. So I will add a prompt. Shortcut to add a prompt or to get this search is to right click on anywhere in the canvas and you will see this menu pop up. You can navigate to different sections here. I want the prompt, so you can search for it, prompt, and it will pop up here. And I want an image generator, an image model, so I'm going to click on the image model here on the left hand side, and I'm just going to select GPT image 1.5. Again, if we hover the mouse over, you will see it says GPT image 1.5. It gives you the inputs, a brief description, and the credits that it will cost you to run that model. I will just click and drag it into the workspace. And you see this says prompt, and this input receives a prompt. And I'm going to click on this to just remove this window. Back in the workspace, you can see they're both the same color, which makes it easy for you to just know that this prompt goes to this output here goes to this input. Another thing to keep an eye out on is if a model requires a particular input, it will have an asterisk next to it, which means that it requires a prompt input. If there's another input here and it doesn't have an asterisk, it's an optional input. So if you have, for example, if I bring in, let me just search for nano. Nano Banana, let's just say Pro. You will see this has two inputs. One of it has got a star, and this other input doesn't have a star, which just means that the prompt is required, but you don't have to give it an image. So the image input is optional. If you give it an image, it will still use it, but it's optional. But you definitely need a prompt to make this particular node work. If, for example, you see image 1 is optional, so I don't give it an input, and I click run, you will see this red mark here showing you that this is a required input. So if you hover over, you will see it says required input, while if you hover over this one, nothing is really said, but it says the image you want to edit goes into image 1. Okay, so I'm just going to click on this to remove this bar, click on this and hit delete to remove this. And I'm just going to connect these two up, and we are going to prompt this. So an axolotl wearing a jetpack collects coins in a 2D game. Once you click on GPT image 1.5, on the right hand side is the property window of this particular node. So here we can select the model, the background, here transparent or opaque. I'm going to leave it opaque. The quality, high, medium, low, and the size. We keep it 1:1 or 1024 by 1024. If you want one of these to be an option as an input, you hover over it, and for example, quality, hover over it and click on this set. I don't know what's doing that. Set as input. Click on that, and you will see that it now becomes an input, and you can choose its manually. So we're going to keep this to medium, and we're going to click on Run. Again, once you click on the node and on the right hand side you see all the properties, I have just exposed the quality here, set as parameter, and it's right here. If you click on this again, it will remove this input and bring it back to this property window. Right at the bottom, we have the amount of times it needs to run. So here it's just run once. You can make it 2, 3, 4. Each time you increase this, the total credit cost will go up accordingly. We keep it, bring it back to 1. Okay, now let's run this model. GPT image 1.5. This is the OpenAI ChatGPT model generator. Sorry, image generator. Some of these image generators can be slow. Some of them can be quick, but video generators can definitely take up a lot more time than images. Anything from half a minute to 2 minutes sometimes for video generation. Okay, so we have this really cool image as the output. Let's generate another image. Let's say Superman working out in a very small gym. Click on Run. So we have this error. Sometimes you can just hit Run Model again and it will generate the model. So this is quite a good example to show that this sometimes happens. Depending on your prompt, you can either adjust your prompt or you need to disable this safety checker on certain models. So this model does not have a safety checker that you can enable or disable, but some other models, like the Quen models, you can actually enable or disable the safety checker. So you can definitely tweak that. So for here, you can either run it again or you can change the prompt. So I'm just going to change the prompt to Superman in a very small gym lifting weights. And let's try that again. Once you generate something, you can see the task here is one running. You click on that and each time it failed, it will tell you why it failed and your credits will be refunded. Oh, that is coming up again. Okay, let's change the prompt. And I'm not sure why it's saying that, but let's change the prompt to a bright, sunny day overlooking the mountain, overlooking the valley from the mountain top. And run this. Hopefully this goes through. I'm not sure why it keeps failing. Some of these models are a bit temperamental, so you might have to come back later or just give it a break and generate it again. Sometimes you have to change your prompt to adjust it. Sometimes it's just flags an error for no reason, but you just have to be patient. Or the best thing to do is also try a different model. So if you want to generate something that is, let's say you want to generate content for an underwear model or for an underwear campaign or a bikini line, some models will not allow you to generate certain types of images. So you just have to pick and choose your models depending on what they can do. So GPT Image 1.5, it is quite good, quite consistent. Certain images, you can see the safety checker might come up. It comes up a lot in Nano Banana Pro, so you just have to be careful and don't be too frustrated because it can happen. Your content can get flagged for so many different reasons, but try a different model if you don't really need to. If you don't really need, for example, Nano Banana's capabilities, you can always choose something like Z Image Turtle or something else. Okay, this is the image we've got. So right here, if we zoom in, I'll close this. You can see you have single, click on this and you can see your multiple image viewer. See our two images here? I'll click back on this. Or you can just click on the backwards and forwards and you will see the images. We also have this open gallery. Once you click on this, you'll be able to see your images slightly bigger, full screen. The good thing about this is you can actually click on this eye, which is very useful. For example, if I go back, this is the image I've just generated, but we can't go back to the previous prompt. But what we can do is click Open Gallery. We can go back to the previous image here on the right hand side, click on eye, and you can see everything that's made up this image. So this is all the metadata, the image model, the prompt. You can actually copy the prompt as well. And you can see we have opaque background, the image we use, the number of images generated, the outputs, PNG, the quality and the size. So all these things can be copied as well, but it's really good for the prompt. So you can actually go back and see the prompt you used to generate this particular image. So I'll copy this, for example, and I'll come back here, right click. This is a shortcut to bring up this menu system. Click on prompt, and I can actually paste. Control A to select all, Control V to paste, and you see this is my previous prompt. If you want to save this particular image, you just click on this icon here and it will download this current image. You can also click on these three dots here and it gives you different properties as well of this node. You can duplicate it, rename it. So for example, we can say, sunny mountain view. And this will rename it. It's still a Chat GPT image generator, but we've just renamed it. So if we have a much bigger workflow, we can keep tabs of what this does. You can lock it, you can delete it. By clicking on the delete or backspace button, you can download all the images or just this image, and you can remove just this image or everything you have just generated. Before we go back, I'll just delete this. And this will just be a single project, a very simple workflow. Prompt to image generator. And we can also go to the search, click export, drag this in and connect it here. So this is prompt to image generator, and then we save it. Very simple workflow. If you want to select everything, you just click, left click, select everything, drag and select, let go of the mouse, and you can move it around. Right at the bottom, you have this arrow that helps you make selections. Next to it is the hand icon, and the hand icon, you can use it to just move things, the whole canvas around, or you can move individual items around with either the hand or this arrow. Here, this is to undo. So undo movements, or look at that connection, we've just undone it. And we can actually fit to zoom and control our zoom options here. Once we have a connection like this, we can actually delete it by just clicking on the connection and hitting delete. As simple as that, to just click on the actual connection and hit delete. Every time we're working on our project, it's automatically saving it, which is really good. So you don't have to keep on remembering to save your project. If you right click and you see your different options, you can actually have access to this menu and select different nodes that way. Or you can go up here and search for what you want. If we go back to our workspace, all the other projects have an image as the cover. To do that, you click on your project to go back into it. And once you have a generated image, you can right click and set as cover. It only works on generated images, not an image that you drag from your computer onto your workspace. So you have to generate an image, right click on it and set as cover. So we go back to our files and you will see that that image is now our cover. After we've worked on various projects, for example, let's say I've worked on these 3 projects and these 3 projects are all the same. For us to organize them, we can just click on My Files here, but the plus button, New Folder, we can name it Project 1. It will appear right here. To add the various projects into this, we can either right click, select Move, and select the folder. Another way to do it is to drag and hover over the folder by left clicking, let go, and it will actually appear in that folder. So you can just left click, drag, hover over, and let go, and it will be in that folder. Once you click and open the folder, to take the projects back out of the folder, right click, move, and select My Files, and it will move it back out of that folder. Or it will move it to another folder you select. So you see we've had those 2 projects back out into the general My Files. So that is a quick intro to our workspace, how to organize it, what each button does, and what each menu item does. Hope this was useful. Any questions, just give me a shout in the comments. Anything I missed out that you think might be useful, again, just give me a shout in the comments and I will make a note of that. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video with a colleague of yours that might find it useful. Thanks for watching.